Valentine's Day is almost here. That's right, that special time of year where millions of people go into credit card debt in the hopes of buying the love and affections of their significant other is just around the corner. And what better way to celebrate this day of perpetual obligation than by watching a movie about a couple so dysfunctional that it will make your relationship seem much better by comparison. Do you have extreme tolerances to fire?
Yes!
Well, then I've got a movie made just for you. So sit back, relax, and keep the fire extinguisher close, folks, as we take a spoiler-free look at Companion. But before we do that, if you could help me reach 2,000 subscribers by subscribing to the channel, I would really appreciate it. Anyway, here we go. So, Companion starts like any great love story, as we see a young couple, Iris and Josh, on their way to spend time with their friends at a very fancy lake house. And, as you would expect, they have a fun evening full of eating, drinking, and dancing to 80s tunes. That's right, so far, things are turning out to be an idyllic weekend. But there's just one small problem. Iris, in a moment of self-defense, has killed the owner of the lake house, Sergey. And, to make matters worse, it turns out that Iris is actually a robot.
No way!
A very expensive, realistic AI called a companion bot. Essentially, she's a lot like those fembots from Austin Powers, except she doesn't shoot bullets and you can have sex with her.
Yeah, baby!
After getting Iris under control, Josh tells her that he has to shut her down so the police can take her into custody, causing her to go against her programming and go on the run.
Eli, Iris, shh, baby, you're on the phone.
So now, as Iris comes to terms with what she actually is, Josh will have to do whatever it takes to find her before things go from bad to much, much worse. Now, when coming out of the theater, I really didn't know what to think about this movie, but after taking some time, I really don't think I like it very much. Or maybe I should say that it really feels like there's a lot of wasted potential. However, before I get into all that, I would like to say that I think the cast actually does a very good job. Jack Quaid is someone that I like a lot. I don't think I've seen him give a bad performance, and judging from his few guest appearances on Red Letter Media, he seems like a cool guy.
Stupid?
I do, however, wish that he would get different types of roles, because just about every part that he plays is that of a boyfriend who has deep-seated insecurities, entitlement issues, and eventually gets emasculated by his girlfriend. That was what his character was in Scream. That is certainly his character in The Boys, and that's what his character is here, with the only difference being that his girlfriend this time is a robot.
Sex robot.
But the best performance by far is Sophie Thatcher as Iris. Now, the only work of hers that I've seen before this movie was Heretic from last year. I was very impressed with her work in that movie, and likewise, I'm impressed with her work here. Her ability to emote very subtly and being able to convey a lot of emotions all at once without saying anything is really very impressive, and this movie has made me want to see more of her in the future. Now, with all of that out of the way, I do need to say that this movie lacks focus and feels very muddled, and that's because it's trying to tackle a lot of ideas without having a script strong enough to do so. All at the same time, Companion is trying to juggle the themes of toxic relationships, female empowerment, what it means to be human, male entitlement, the concept of true love, relationship codependency, and the list just goes on. And despite all of these themes being packed into the movie, none of them are explored to their fullest potential. In fact, even when they are explored, they come off as very derivative. For example, the final act feels a lot like the movie Don't Worry, Darling. Now, if you haven't seen that movie, please don't, because it's terrible. But if you have, I'm fairly certain that you'll see the parallels between the two films like I did. Also, there's a big part of Companion that, to me at least, seems to have been pulled directly from the movie Ex Machina, a movie that's also about an AI woman that explores ideas that are similar to Companion, but does so in a much more interesting way, and with a super cool dance number. I'll also say that the movie is a victim of its own trailers. The first trailer made it out to be a Bonnie and Clyde situation where a guy kidnaps a girl that he's in love with and forces her to commit crimes, an idea that I think could have actually been a very compelling story, which sadly this movie wasn't. And the second trailer revealed way too much about the film, something that unfortunately happens all the time now. On top of that, the movie had more than its fair share of contrivances and, by the end, some gaping plot holes that really caused me to leave the movie pretty disappointed, because, as the trailer proudly boasts, this is from the same people that made Barbarian, a movie that I actually liked quite a bit. So, with all that said, would I recommend the movie? Well, yes, but I would wait till it hits streaming. While I do think it's worth watching, I don't think there's enough good about it to justify spending the money on a movie ticket. However, at just 90 minutes long, watching it at home is probably how you'd get the most enjoyment out of it. Or, at the very least, when it's over, you can look at your significant other and say, hey, at least we don't do that to each other.